I cannot believe this day is finally here, and I think some of you probably feel that way as well. We're very excited to be here. We're very excited to have you here and to welcome you to the William J. Wood Veterans House. And yes, absolutely. We are finally ready to open our doors, and we have veterans scheduled to move in next week. Every unit has somebody moving into it. It's 100% occupied. I want to start by thanking our funders in no particular order. We have the Washington State Department of Commerce Housing Trust Fund, the King County Veterans and Human Services Levy administered by King County Community and Housing Development, the King County Housing Authority, Federal Home Loan Bank with Umpqua as the sponsor, National Equity Fund, the LISC MetLife Foundation Bring Them Homes Initiative, the Home Depot Foundation, Impact Capital, Washington Federal Bank, tax credits through Washington State Housing Finance Commission, and our private donors who sponsored rooms and gave donations. And I also just want to make you aware we have an amazing community volunteer by the name of Joan Pratt, who's here somewhere, who also, if you went through the rooms, yes, she mobilized some incredible community members to make sure that every unit would have some of the necessities that our tenants needed, whether it was linens, towels, dishes, pots and pans. So she made that happen, so we appreciate those donations as well. Thank you. And then I also want to thank our partners. We have Shelter Resources Incorporated. We have the Department of Veterans Affairs. We have the Puget Sound VA Healthcare System. CE&C Construction, who built this building, and I have to call out Jason. He's around here somewhere. He was the one who got your attention because he and his crew have bent over backwards. Whenever there were challenges that came up, he just made miracles happen. Bayless Architects, Seacrest Design, Allied Residential, the City of Federal Way, South King County Fire and Rescue, and of course the MSC Board of Directors. Let's all give them a round of applause with our donors and our partners. And I want to recognize also our elected officials. We've had so many elected officials who have worked tirelessly to support this project from both the local level on up to the federal level. And in fact, we have representatives here today from Senator Cantwell and Senator Murray's office, and from Representative Smith and Representative Burkhart's office. But we've had elected officials at the local level as well. And there are so many people here, and because I'm short, I know if I try to find everybody, I will miss somebody. So what I would like to do is, if you are an elected official in any capacity, if you could please raise your hand so we can recognize you. Thank you for all that you do, and for all that you do to support veterans, and for helping us to see this project through. And thank you for all of you in this room for supporting this project. Together, we made this project a reality for veterans and their families, and we couldn't have done it without you. And I just want to give you a brief history. This was a long time in the making. It actually started over 5 years ago with our former CEO, Federal Way City Council member Deanie Duclos, who is also here. And Deanie had noticed that there was an increasing need for services for veterans in South King County, which was supported by research. And she also had some personal experiences with family members and friends who had served during the military and saw the challenges that they sometimes faced when coming back and transitioning back into civilian life. So I feel very blessed to be able to pick up where she left off and bring this project to fruition. It has personal meaning for me as well. Having a father, 2 grandfathers, and various family members and friends who have served, I've seen firsthand the sacrifices that our veterans have made for this country. So to be able to give back is just an incredible honor. This housing project will allow veterans to live with their families, and they'll receive services right here on site. Services such as employment, counseling, training, and also we have the Department of Veterans Affairs Puget Sound VA Healthcare System co-located on site, which is an incredible partnership as well. And we have veterans will be moving in next week. We have a diverse group of veterans, diverse in the sense of age, ethnicity, background, gender, all branches of service represented. And just to tell you a quick story about who we're seeing, we have one gentleman, an older gentleman, who literally walked out of the woods to come to his leasing appointment. This is the first home that he will have had in 25 years. Yes. We have a young mother who has an active reserves with 3 kids, and she now has, currently homeless, and now has a permanent home right here for just in time for the holidays. So amazing things that we're able to do because of all of you. We're proud to be bringing this facility to our community. The grand opening is an auspicious time because, as you may know, Pearl Harbor, there was the 75th anniversary commemoration yesterday, so great timing. And we're honored to serve those who have courageously served our country. So we have a fully packed schedule today, so I'd like to now introduce our first speaker. Please help me welcome King County Executive Dow Constantine.
Well, thank you so much. And I am pleased to join all of you today to participate in the grand opening of the dedication of the William J. Wood Veterans House. This beautiful and built green building stands ready to welcome home 44 veterans and their families. All of these units have been dedicated specifically to moving veterans out of homelessness. There are thousands in our community who are living with the trauma of homelessness. And thousands more struggle every day, day to day, week to week, month to month, to keep a roof overhead. It is especially troubling to know that many of those who are on our streets, these homeless men and women, are those who have served our nation, served in our country's armed forces. They were willing to put themselves in harm's way to protect us, our families, our freedoms. That they should come home to homelessness is simply unacceptable. King County, through our King County Veterans Program and the voter-approved Vets and Human Services Levy, is working hard to connect former servicemen and servicewomen to health care and other services they need to claim their rightful place in our community. Thanks to our Vets and Human Services Levy, in fact, King County was able to contribute $3.4 million in capital funds toward this project, and we will fund more than $400,000 in services as well over the next 4 years. We've learned that the best way to help individuals and families exit homelessness is, yes, to make sure that they have a secure place to live, but also to provide around them the services they need to get on their feet and to be able to be self-sufficient, take care of themselves, take care of their families, contribute to the community. It is about a building, but it is also about the complete person. Those supportive services will be available right here to the new residents at William Wood. We reflect on the spirit of service and sacrifice that veterans throughout our history have made to keep our country safe. We can think of no better example than Vietnam War veteran William Wood, for whom this project is named. A longtime member of the Vietnam Veterans of America, he embraced their motto, "Never again will one generation of veterans abandon another." Bill was a tireless advocate for his fellow veterans, fighting for better access, for quality health care, particularly for those returning home with disabling injuries or illnesses incurred during their military service. He served 4 terms on the King County Veterans Program Board, and he was instrumental in the creation of the Veterans Incarcerated Program, a collaboration with the State Department of Veterans Affairs to help King County veterans transition from jail to community treatment services, housing, and recovery. In 1999, the Veterans Incarcerated Program was awarded the Governor's Quality Initiative Award by Governor Gary Locke. The Veterans Incarcerated Program, or VIP, continues today, helping veterans connect to the treatment services they need rather than to incarceration. Bill was also a very early and very active proponent of the very first Veterans and Human Services Levy, and I'm proud to say I nominated him to serve on our inaugural levy oversight board. He served 2 terms, including several years as the board chair. He was an exceptional man, and he was a true champion for veterans everywhere. William Wood Veterans House will create opportunities for long-term stability for veterans in need. And that is not only cause for celebration, but I think you'll agree it is a fitting tribute to Bill Wood. I want to thank the Multi-Service Center for acknowledging his contributions to our community and to veterans with this honor, and I congratulate Robin Korak and the staff of the Multi-Service Center for having the vision, providing the leadership to bring this exceptional project to completion. Congratulations, and Robin, if you'll join me, I wanted to present you with this very heavy plaque thanking the voters and taxpayers of King County for the Veterans and Human Services Levy contribution to William Wood House. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, please help me welcome King County Council Member Pete Von Reichbauer.
I want to thank Robin, all the volunteers in the public sector and the private sector who made today's possible. You know, I was reminded, Governor Inslee's not here right now, but one of his favorite basketball partners from Magnolia and Queen Anne is Larry Phillips. And Larry was a good friend of mine who often introduced me as in a capacity as chair of the King County Council as one of the few veterans still in public service. You know, one of the things that has troubled many of us is so few people in government have had that military experience. Apparently, President-elect Trump is trying to resolve that. Why are we here? We are here because in 2015, the Washington state unemployment rate was 3.8. For veterans in the state of Washington, it was 5%. We're here because of the Woods family and what they've done. It's ironic that the oldest member living here in this facility left the Woods to come to the Wood House. This house is a house of dreams. It began with Deanie DeClose, who's now on the Federal Way City Council, who dreamed that we should do more. It's a house of dreams where the Rotary Club of Federal Way came together and said, we can do more. It's a house of dreams where public officials, whether it's our governor, Governor Inslee, our county executive, Dow Constantine, or my colleague on our King County Council at the time, Bob Ferguson, because Bob and I were the co-sponsors of the Veterans Levy when it first passed. And Bob should be recognized for that. I want to thank everybody here for being part of this dream come true. We're also here because the men and women who will live here currently, maybe in an outpost in the far reaches of this world, protecting our interests and protecting our freedoms. Freedom is not free, and when you see and talk to the people here at this facility, you understand the sacrifices they, their families, have made for us. Please don't thank me as a public official. Thank every one of those people who have served in the military. Thank you.
All right, please help me in welcoming Governor Jay Inslee.
Thank you. This is a huge honor to join with those who have done so much today in this great community for our veterans. We know a simple fact that unites us all, and that is that the men and women who protect our homes ought to have one. And this is a great statement to make sure that our veterans have a home. And there is no better time or place to celebrate this American and Washington principle. First off, today it's a wonderful place to recognize this the day after our 75th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attack, where 12 million men and women defended our homes and our freedoms. And when those men and women returned home, America did a lot for them, including the adoption in 1944 of the Servicemen's Readjustment Act that provided veterans at that time in that century an opportunity to acquire their own home. That was an innovative idea in 1944, and it was spectacularly successful in making sure the veterans had housing. Now, jump forward to this century in this community, where we are again adopting great innovation and helping veterans in this generation of our freedom fighters. And this is an innovative home at William Woods, because it is innovative because it is giving people an anchor of housing while we were providing all those wraparound services for those vets and their families so that they can be stable. We know that vets wrestle with PTSD. We know that they wrestle with some addictive issues. We know that they need some new training to get in our high-tech economy. Right here at William Wood, we're making sure, and you're making sure, that people have not only housing, but these wraparound services to make sure that they are successful. So I think we can be in a celebratory mood today that what was innovative in the last century for World War II veterans are now going to be innovative for veterans who are returning home from the Mideast and all around the world where our homes are being protected by these vets. So how about a round of applause for everybody who's been associated with this project. Now obviously, our first celebration ought to be for the Wood family. What they have done for the veterans community in the state of Washington is absolutely spectacular. We know that Mr. Wood was an advocate for the Veterans and Human Services Levy. We know that he was instrumental in creating a way to help incarcerated veterans get back on their feet, back into the workplace. And this has been an inspiration to us statewide. We're building on that. I do want you to know, to this community, this has been a homegrown effort. But I do want you to know that the state of Washington is helping along the way. In the last several years, I'm proud to say that we have housed 1,400 veterans in the last 3 years. I'm proud to say that we are leading the nation, literally, in giving veterans, as they transition out of the service, employment, placement, and training. I was happy. I was at JBL the other day, and one of the proudest things I've been of the state of Washington, and we were told that the Pentagon basically is going to use the state of Washington as the template of a new employment system so that when people, before they leave a service, as they're mustered out, before they're mustered out, can have access to employment placement services. I'm proud to say that we are joining the Wood family in giving people, as they leave our Department of Corrections, employment, veterans, employment opportunity. We have a special program just for veterans as they are mustering out of our corrections facilities, have a good transition to go back to employment rather than some other more challenging ways of living. So the state stands with you in this celebration. We intend to use you as a template. I intend to brag about your efforts. And I look forward to getting to know these families, because it isn't just a vet here, it's a whole family that you're helping at the Wood home. So congratulations, let's keep building, let's celebrate these vets. Thanks a lot.
All right. Please help me in welcoming our Veterans Affairs, Michael Tadick. Okay. Thank you, Paul.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mike Tadick, the Acting Director at VA Puget Sound Healthcare System. Ending veteran homelessness has been and continues to be a priority for not only the VA, but all our community partners. As of October 31st, there were 841 homeless veterans that we had identified in the area. We're making progress at reducing that number. However, with the current housing challenges in King County and the Northwest Washington area, we're seeing 100 new veterans entering into homelessness every month. The VA Puget Sound Healthcare System staff continue to work closely with our partners in King County and across the region to identify, serve, and house as many veterans as possible. The William Wood Veterans House represents an amazing collaboration, offering opportunity to permanently house 44 veterans and their families. These veterans and families represent our most vulnerable population. And in the next week, those individuals will have a permanent place to call home, which is a huge success. I want to thank our partners in King County, HUD, Multi-Service Centers, King County Housing Authority, and the City of Federal Way for stepping up to this challenge helping us develop a site that should be the model for the region. I want to thank all the other folks who have made this building possible. Caring for veterans is a noble mission, and your efforts to assist us in taking care of veterans is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome City of Federal Way Mayor Jim Farrell.
Thank you so much. Boy, what a tremendous turnout. Doesn't it just seem like yesterday that we had the groundbreaking here and we had a similar sized crowd, but this is truly a momentous day for Federal Way. I really have to say, the history of this is quite interesting, that former council member, former mayor Jack Dovey actually owned a major portion of the land that was here, provided a great price for the property. The leadership of Deanie Duclos, our partner on the city council, really paved the way for this to go. I'd like to thank the Multi-Service Center, its leadership, all the people that work there. I had the honor of being on the Multi-Service Center board for 10 years. And, you know, this is really my favorite time of year, and we all watch that movie, It's a Wonderful Life. One of the reasons I love that movie, and I think about it a lot, is because the impact that either an individual or an organization can have in a community. And one cannot even begin to imagine what this community would be like without the partnership and all of the work that the Multi-Service Center does every day on behalf of the lesser advantaged and folks that are really trying to gain self-sufficiency. But to talk about veterans and about what they have done, I just want to say that, you know, the veterans, the service and the bravery that it took to serve in the armed services, and ultimately what they have given for our country, really this is a small step, a small repayment for the efforts that they have made on all of our behalf. So on behalf of the 95,000 people who call Federal Way home, I say welcome to Federal Way, welcome to the veterans, the new Veterans Wood home. Thank you to the Wood family, and let's have a great ribbon cutting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please help me welcome Debbie Burkhart from the National Equity Fund.
Pride of home, an optimism, a hope for new beginnings. We celebrate William Wood Veterans House and MSC for providing more than a roof to homeless and low-income veterans in Federal Way and King County. When homeless veterans have the opportunity to live in veterans communities like this project, we've seen the benefit from not only having a secure roof over your head, but also by peer support and access to community services. My company, the National Equity Fund, has provided grants and equity financing to build similar vets communities in 15 states across the country, producing about 4,500 units. One of our residents expressed it best. He said, "Anyone with a home has neighbors, but here I'm with my brothers and my sisters." How can we do more? First, to continue to support and applaud community-based developers like MSC for their patience and leadership. I want to thank Robin and Mark Thomas and Len Brannon for being there and never giving up, because this project started in 2012 and unfortunately we're at the end of 2016. We also need public-private partnerships to finance $18 million of development costs. NEF, where I work, is a nonprofit equity fund, and we bought the low-income housing tax credits and provided $8 million, which was 60% of total development costs in this project. The best part of equity, it never has to be paid back as long as the project serves low-income households. But there is concern coming up with tax reform that it may adversely impact this program. We will continue to need bipartisan support and leadership, like from Governor Inslee and Senator Cantwell, to ensure more veterans' house projects like this are built and financed. But the tax credits are a dollar-for-dollar reduction in business tax liabilities, and last but not least, I need to thank my investors. They invested in the Homestead Fund, and that included Ally Bank, Key Bank, U.S. Bank, Washington Federal, and Wells Fargo. I especially appreciate Washington Federal for their partnership as the local investor and the construction lender. Their flexibility allowed us to move quickly. I also want to thank my foundation partner, the MetLife Foundation, and we provided a $20,000 pre-development grant. And we also were able to provide a similar grant to MSC Tacoma. Well, I'm hoping that project won't take as long to build, and look forward to that grand opening. Thank you.
Thank you. Please help me welcome Stephen Norman from the King County Housing Authority.
Well, as the son of a combat infantryman during World War II, I'm particularly pleased to be here on the day after Pearl Harbor Day at this. I want to start by acknowledging some of the folks who made this happen. I'm going to drill down a little bit, starting with the MSC team, with Deanie's vision, but really the leadership under Robin, Manuela Jeanette, and Greg Holman, who really moved all the detailed pieces here. Mark Thomas and Jan Salinas from Shelter Resources. Development is never easy, and I think this project proved that. The VA, under Michael Tadich's leadership, Kathy Gerard, Megan Deal, and Tammy Thomas, who do the hard job every day on the streets of trying to work and gain trust and make connections with vets and get them in to homes. And at KCHA, I'm very proud to acknowledge Christy Johnson, Rebecca Stapleton, Carrie Philpott, Terry Ackerman, Galena Boyko, and Carolyn Robinson for all their good work in aligning the federal subsidies with the VA and with the requirements on the site and the equity partners. It's harder than it actually sounds. And really for the entire KCHA staff for chipping in and putting together the welcome baskets that are in every home for the new veterans coming in. We're very pleased to be providing VASH vouchers to support all 44 units in the property. This is over $5 million of operating support for a multi-year contract that makes sure that the lights are on and we have heat on days like today. And I'm also very, very pleased to announce that last month, King County was awarded an additional 150 VASH vouchers to house additional veterans in our community. We and the small cities of Chicago and Los Angeles were the only three in the country that got a full 150 VASH allocation. And this is really a testament to the strong partnership between the local VA and the Housing Authority, and I really thank the VA for their work in that. When we have these VASH units filled, we will be housing more than 700 veterans out in King County outside of the city of Seattle. And I would like to acknowledge and commend Senator Patty Murray for her relentless advocacy on behalf of our veterans, and without whom the VASH program would not exist. But our job is not done. There are still too many homeless on our streets and in our shelters. Some veterans, all members of our community. Right now, there are close to 100 homeless veterans with VASH vouchers out on the street looking for a landlord that will take their voucher. There were over 7,000 school children who were reported homeless by the school districts in King County last year, and I don't need to tell you that homeless children don't learn. And so far in 2016, 47 of our community members have died homeless on the street. We need to do more. Locally, we need source of income discrimination statutes to support our efforts to enable a VASH voucher holder, a veteran, to have a level playing field when he goes in and he tries to rent an apartment. And on the national level, we need to continue the momentum that has developed over the last 8 years to get the job done. But the real story today is here, where we can celebrate success and thank all the good people who made it happen and say with meaning, thank you for your service. Thank you.
One thing I wanted to mention was that this project originally only had subsidies for some of the units, and it was really through the efforts and the partnership of King County Housing Authority and the Puget Sound VA Healthcare System that we were able to get VASH voucher rental subsidies for every single unit in this building. So thank you. And finally, please help me welcome Debra Wood and retired Lieutenant General John R. Wood.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here. I know that Bill would be so proud and humbled by all of this. He was very active, like everyone says, very active in the veterans community, and was, again, very instrumental in helping the Veterans and Human Services Levy pass the first time. I thought a long time about what I was going to say today. I thought about all the things that Bill and many others fought for and stood for over the years to help veterans and their families. Bill came from a military family. His brother Bob, a retired officer, fondly referred to as the general in my office. Bill had his own demons to deal with after Vietnam, but found healing in doing what he could to create avenues, no matter how small, for those who served and had a rocky path back. While there are many more vets out there who need our support, I know that Bill would be so proud that 44 families have an opportunity to get off the streets and have a place to call home. I've hardly ever met a vet that didn't want to help themselves, and if given the opportunity when needed, would do so. Bill left us with the responsibility to give our fellow veterans that opportunity. This is such a great honor for Bill and that avenue needed by those veterans who will be residents at the William J. Wood Veterans House. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Debra said it so well. My brother would be very quietly in that corner, knowing he worked hard with a team to make this all happen. This means an enormous amount to our family, to everyone Bill touched, and means so much more to the generation that's now going to be touched by the efforts of all of you in this room. If it represents one thing, it represents teamwork. I've never imagined the number of names and institutions and officials come together to make such a wonderful place for our veterans to call home. I think if you ask Bill how his philosophy of life went, it had to do with one day at a time, because he did have his struggles, and he did, as mentioned before, do that hard work out on the streets and had great empathy and ability to communicate to veterans. That one day at a time brought us to this point. My thanks to all of you for what you've done, certainly for the veterans, personally for the family. And if I don't get a chance to shake every one of your hands, it's because I didn't try. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you again for all of your support for veterans in our community. We have a little change to the schedule. As you can see, the construction crew has been working nonstop to finish up some last-minute items, and we're still finishing up a few things. One of those things is a flagpole out front. So it's a little bit delayed, but I will be here. But I know that Woodman Life wanted to present us with a flag so that we can raise that on the flagpole as soon as that is set up. So if somebody is here from Woodman Life that would like to present the flag. Thank you.
My name's Steve Wiest. I'm with here today representing Woodman Life. No relationship. It's just a coincidence. It just happens to be the William J. Wood family shelter. So Woodman Life is a national organization. What we call national community focused projects. One of those projects we like to do is supporting the veterans. So we do a lot of that nationally. This is a real good fit for us. Another thing we like to do is to present American flags to different organizations. Some of you may know that we did the flagpole and flag over at the 9/11 Memorial, and we like to continue that support. So on behalf of the Woodman nationally, and more particularly on behalf of the local Woodman Life members, I want to thank them for allowing me to be able to do this. I want to thank MSC for building this shelter. This is a great project. We look forward to working with you guys in the future on this. I want to thank Greg Holman for contacting me wherever he is. I know he's in the room here. There he is. And making a relationship with us so we would be able to have the opportunity to come and do this today. We thank you for getting the flagpole in last night. I think it was right about midnight. It worked out perfect for us. And if you'd like to join us later, we're going to go down and actually raise the flag for today. and I think it's after the ribbon cutting. So I want to present this flag to you. Honey, and if you want to, we can open it up. Yes, absolutely. Can I get some help? It's a 5x8 flag, so it's a fairly large flag. So he's got a nice flagpole out here for us, so we will open this up. And there's one of the Wood family members here. Yeah, right here. Take that, sir, for. And that over there, do is walk right over that.
Backwards, guys, gotta turn it around.
Walk along.
Yeah, we don't know. What do we know? All right, I'm just saying.
It could have been upside down.
Don't do that, don't do that.
Yes, I'm going to mention that. Thank you so much. So miracles do happen. I didn't realize the flagpole was ready to go, so very excited about that. So, that's been the case with this project all along, so it's wonderful. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to first start with the ribbon cutting and the flag raising on the second floor by the main lobby. And then I hope that you will take a self-guided tour of the various rooms in the building. There is a list of rooms available for viewing on the back of your program. Thank you again for being here, and I hope to see you down on the second floor. Thank you.
And we can stand here just to make sure the ribbon doesn't fall. How's that?
No. Okay. All right, you ready?
Nicely done.